thank you for joining us today. So, on behalf of Rajalakshmi Institute of Technology, I welcome you all for our alumni series. So, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce today's alumnus guest, Mr. T.S. Yamune Thuraivan. So, he is one of our bright students from the first batch of RIT, so 2008 to 2012, Mechanical Engineering. And he is also a writer. So he has written a book called Among the Stars, which is a collection of short stories. So we'll be listening about his time at RIT, and of course, so I'm focusing more on the creative side. So I missed out on his actual designation. So his designation, he is the assistant manager in Sundaram Fasteners, the design and development department. So he'll be sharing his information on how to balance between being an engineer and being an author, because many of us, we have our hobbies with us, but after we join our job, because I've heard it from many of my friends, even many of the students, after they join the job, they mostly leave the right brain activity. That is, of course, they use the right brain in their job, but the other hobbies which they have, like writing or painting or dancing, most of the people, they do not continue what they do. So when we ask for the reason, they say that the time is not there and all those reasons. So we have with us a guest who has successfully done both. So he's shining in his core mechanical engineering field as assistant manager, design and development, and he's also a writer, a voracious reader, a writer. So mostly he'll be sharing us with the students his experience about how he's able to balance both. And along with that, we are also going to ask him other questions. And so in order to ask the question from the students' side, so we have with us Sanjana of third year mechanical engineering. So she is going to be the host for our session. So if you are familiar with our previous sessions, you know that our students, they are the hosts, so they interact with our guests. So this session is no different from the previous sessions. So the agenda for the session is, today we are going to have a 30-minute question and answer session, and followed by that we can have a discussion with the audience. So feel free to type your questions in the chat window at any point of time. So for now I have disabled the audio for the first 30 minutes. So during the 30 minutes, if you have any question, you can please type it in the chat window. And in case if you want to interact with any of our guests, friends, that is our other alumni of RIT first batch, if they want to add certain points to it, please message me. I can unmute you and you can have a discussion. Okay. So I think with that brief introduction and brief welcome address which I am delivering to everybody. So I am signing off. I'll be behind the scenes. Now I hand over the session to Sanjana. And welcome Yamune.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. A very warm greetings from my side in this evening when all have joined this meeting and session. And it's also my duty to welcome the guest, Mr. T.S. Yamune Thuraivan, Assistant Manager, Design Department, Sundaram Fasteners. So hi, sir. And I also welcome the audience from my side.
Hi, all. Happy to be here.
So firstly, sir, all I wanted to ask you is, I heard your 2008 and 12 batch, 2008 to 12 batch engineering, the first batch in our college. So why did you choose mechanical, and how was your UG experience in the college being the first batch?
Okay, so part of my dream is to be in a creative job. So as we grow up, we have different dreams of passion or profession to take up. So I initially wanted to become a doctor, or then I wanted to become an army officer and all those things. But once I matured enough, towards the end of my schooling, I wanted to become an engineer, and I was swaying between mechanical and chemical. And I was more inclined towards mechanical engineering because I wanted to see the work that I have been doing to physically manifest themselves in the physical world, so that we'll be able to see what we have created. So that is why I chose mechanical. And the initial days when I joined Rajalakshmi Institute of Technology, I still remember we were the first batch of the college, and the college as well grew with us. So when we first started, it was a very few staff, and we were actually, we got something that other people usually do not get in a very big campus. So all the attention from the teachers and a very small group of friends, so that there is no barriers or history of any animosity between people or anything like that. So a very open-ended relationship across all the departments, and as well as all the lecturers. So it was a good time. And by the time we graduated from college, we ourselves could not recognize how far we ourselves have grown as well as college. And that has been a great experience.
So I heard I've seen your designation also. You are into the design department. Like, what made you to get into the design department? Why did you choose design department?
I would say maybe I'm speaking for everyone here, I don't know, but computer design and CAD and CAM will actually always I can see a smile on your face. That will be like a dream job for all the mechanical engineers. I don't know why it is so, but it's part of the creative experience. So once I got into this field, and now I'm able to see that there is much more skills as well as everything that you have to put in for any kind of job that you do, even mechanical. And the creative part is going to be a part of your career. But the baseline of creating something, as I said, that has been the main drive point for getting into design. And it's been good. All this 8 years has been good.
It's really nice to hear this. And I also saw that you have done your PG in BITS Pilani. So you have been the very first batch in RIT, and having done UG in such a institute and doing PG in institute like BITS Pilani, obviously there have been a big difference. I want to know the experience you have gained during your PG, and as well as the experience that you have gained in Sundaram Fasteners, like your working atmosphere, everything, like your work experience, how your work used to be, all.
So I took up a WILP course from BITS Pilani. So that's a work integrated learning program. So since I had already completed 2 years into my career, I wanted to go and finish off my PG. So by the time I joined Sundaram Fasteners, I enrolled myself into BITS Pilani. That's a distance course. So along with work experience, I'll be able to add something to the curriculum as well. So, and having that work experience has been really helpful in completing that course, since it's a management course. I did my MBA in manufacturing management. So as part of my daily activities, I was actually able to learn much more, an overall view of how an operations is done. So that has been very helpful while studying from a working culture. You'll be able to see hands-on what happens and why you are studying such a thing. I remember back in we used to study Euler's theorem, Fourier series, all those things. Everything has there is some application for all of it, but as a career point of view, we do not get to use everything. So when you are inside a career and you are studying something and you see how it is being applied in your day-to-day life and how it improves your operations and how it actually helps your organization in sorting out things, that actually helps you understand your basics better. So in that way, doing an MBA from BITS Pilani had been very good course, along with my experience in Sundaram Fasteners. And the plant in which I have been working in Sundaram Fasteners is a very small plant. I think it started in 2005. So similar to my college, I have seen my plant grow as well. Okay. So that's a hot forging division. And I have been with the plant from the start. So that has also been a good experience as well.
Wow. So what is writing to you? Not only a professional mechanical engineer you are, but you are also an author. I also read about that. You have published a book, Among the Stars. So, what is writing to you, first of all, and what was the source of inspiration that made you start writing?
Okay, so writing. More than writing, storytelling has been a part of our life for a very long time. Even before we have started writing, to tell a story, to listen to a story is always something very engaging, even before we learn to speak. And since I learned to speak and since I learned to read, I have been pushed into the world of reading by my sister. And writing has been one medium which has been very helpful to me, because I don't know, I have a lot of different interests. And as I said, in a career, you are, somebody is actually running an organization. They are running an organization that is improving in a vertical, and your know-how and knowledge that will be required for that particular organization will be a limited one based on what is your studies. But you might be having something more that you feel like you want to share with the world. And writing or any form of art is a really great way to share what you feel like with the world. And teaching has also been a passion for me. And with writing, I feel like I can reach to more people, get to share what I feel, get to share what I have learned in my life, as well as it's a sharing of perspective. It's a clear medium where people can easily understand. Though I have been receiving complaints regarding my Facebook posts, if you have gone through, most of my posts are not understandable. That's what all my friends say. But I keep trying to get to them, and they keep trying to get to me, and it's been a good journey.
Yeah, now you told right. Teaching is also a part of your passion. So I also saw that in your Facebook page that you have been an English teacher in government school Chellancheri. So
Yes.
how is that experience? Like, how have you got into that one?
Okay, government school Chellancheri, that was a part of CSR from our company, Sundaram Partners. We weekly, once or twice, we go to the government school to help teach the kids, and mainly I took up the class of English. Growing up in a metropolitan city, studying in an English medium school, we get to take things for granted. That people find the English easy, or communicating is a very easy thing, but it's not actually. Since we are used to it from a very young age, we take it for granted. But people, I feel, communicating or any language, it's just a tool. So whether we have this session in English or whether we have this session in Tamil or Hindi, whatever, doesn't matter. But when we still, since English is our second language, we still have that, I wouldn't say fear, barrier towards that language. So whenever someone sees that, what do you say? He's speaking in English, or they are having a conversation in English, people have that barrier to come and join and share their views, and what views they have might actually be much more worthy. So being in that CSR initiative, where I was able to spend some time with 5th and 6th standard kids from Tamil medium government school, I was actually able to realize a part of my dream of being a teacher and trying to engage the kids. Kids at that age are very active. They lose interest very easily. They are distracted very easily. To engage them and to teach them something good, that they feel good about the class as well as about having the session. That was a really challenging one. That was good.
Okay. So till now, we have discussed something. You have been an author. You are being an author. You are still an author.
Yeah, still.
You are doing the part of an English teacher, and also you are assistant manager at Sundaram Partners. So you're doing so much of activities. So how are you able to balance all these? Like, when someone is into their professional work, or like generally many people in today's world, many people, the fast growing world, you're not able to balance your professional life with the personal one. But you are doing so many activities, you're balancing your professional life, and you have not given up on your passion. Everything is going. So how are you able to balance all these things?
See, the thing is, we do not know what life is going to throw at us. So we do not know where our profession is going to land us in, which city we are going to land in. The only constant is going to be us and nothing else, and whatever interests we have. And let me tell you, I am just a few steps ahead in the ladder than few of the people, and there are much more people who are much higher, who are doing a much better job in balancing all their different roles that they play. A classic example is all our mothers. They are the epitome in balancing a professional life and personal life. So they are the first generation, almost first or second generation women who have gone to work, and that has been a part of, I have learned it from my mother. And one more thing, I would say, I don't know whether I'm deviating from the topic. Since the Industrial Revolution, our education system and our self-worth has been aligned towards what is our profession or what is the industry in which we serve in. So if you see our education, I'm not blaming our education, but it can be much better. So the curiosity is something that is very common in all of us from a very young age. So we want to know what is that on the sky, the night, whether it's why is the moon so far, why is it white, why is the sun so hot, why are the trees green, and all those things. The curiosity is something that is instilled in, that is a part of being human. And in today's education system, more than letting the curiosity find answers and more than finding an answer, letting the curiosity find an expression in a form of art or in form of any form. It is more of learning concepts. So we grow up in our school, we learn new concepts. We come to college, we learn much more concepts, and by the end of our official or the learning curve, we will be using only a part of the concepts that we have learned all these years as part of our profession, right? So what do we do with the rest? Don't we owe them a lot? Because being curious is what is actually very important in life. So when you are using only part of your curiosity, there is a latent potential in you, which you can actually find expression in other form of arts. So as I was talking to you, there are people, couple of days back, a friend of mine contacted me, and when she came to know that I'm doing this session, he was telling I have also been willing to write, and I am actually, my passion is to draw, and art is her passion. And I looked at a couple of her pictures, and they were amazing. So there is skill, there is time. Only thing that they feel, or any I have also felt that, is that we don't have the time for it. We don't have the time, or we don't have the energy to do that. But let me be very frank with you. I have been able to write very easily, and more than writing copious amounts of work, to write a quality work or do any form of quality art, you actually need a place of discomfort. You don't need a place of comfort. So when you are very free, what do you do on a holiday? You just sit back, relax, you have your coffee or tea, you watch a movie. We consume, we do not produce. When you are actually in a place of discomfort, you can use that energy, you can use that pent up energy to create something new. Obviously life is going to get, at some point of time, it is going to get a little tough for you to actually have that energy. But if you push through that, you can actually find that fountain of creativity in you. So that will bring out something much greater. You can take the history of many people, those who have been a great writers or great in any form of art. They have been in a very tough situation where they do not have the time, they do not have the energy, or they do not have the freedom even. They have been under a totalitarian government. They do not have the freedom to say what they want to say, and it is under such duress that they actually bring out their finest piece of art. So it's a matter of pushing through it all.
Okay. So, and one more common thing that I have been noticing many times is most of the mechanical engineers end up to be a good writer. So, do they have any connection, or like how do they bring out that creative side?
So thanks to Chetan Bhagat, I suppose. No, actually, engineering has a lot of things in common with writing. I'll say, in your college, you would have studied about the cause and effect diagram,
Yeah.
Ishikawa diagram, right?
Yeah.
So any story is about you telling the effect, and then you are finding the cause. Take for example a detective story, the most famous, and everybody loves reading a detective story.
Yeah.
So the effect is someone is being murdered, or something has happened where there is a person is missing, or kidnapped, or whatever. That is the effect. And for causes, we have multiple causes: probable causes, possible causes, and then you find which is the actual cause which has caused this, and then you finish the story. So this is something that is imbibed in engineering. And as part of mechanical engineering, as I told you, I got into it because of the creativity, to create something from nothing, right? That is part of engineering, to find solutions. Engineering at the base of it all is to find solution for problems faced by humanity. That is what is true engineering. So to get that expression out, you can actually, in writing, it is about finding the solution for the problem that is faced by the protagonist in the story, or you can use it as a commentary for the problems that we as a society face. Mark my words, this COVID-19 is going to breed another set of genre in writing, that is about pandemics and science fiction and all those things. It's about your day-to-day life is adding to you, to what you can write, to what you can think, and what you can express in your writing. So I think as mechanical engineers or engineers, we find a very bond in easily expressing ourselves with
Okay. So the other question, I just want you to brief some more about how a person can nurture their creativity, or how do they find themselves that okay, they are creative. Because I have seen many people, they will have an inbuilt creativity in them, but still they themselves don't know about it. Sometimes we find it in their art, how you told your friend who is good in pencil sketching. So how to find a creativity the inbuilt creativity in a person, and how do they nurture it? And I'd also like if you brief more about how can one manage the time. Like you told, in today's world, the only problem is people keep telling no time. So how do they do the time management also in this balance?
Okay, so the first thing is finding and realizing that you have a talent, or you have something in you that is worthwhile. It is not only about creativity. Any skill, any person, we usually do not. We are more critical towards ourselves than about others. When you meet someone, you actually note what is good about them. Most of us, we feel, they are good in their language, they are good in their communication, they are good in maths, they are good in science. But when we are looking at ourselves, since we don't see a single facet. When we are looking at someone else, we are seeing only that person at that particular point of time, and only for that particular thing in which we are seeing them. But us, we are an open book for ourselves, so we know every aspect of ourselves. So we tend to be more critical about what we know, what we have learned, or what we can convey, or what we can give to the world. And this will actually let us become, we'll grade ourselves lesser. So the best way to come out of this is to have pride in what you do. And we have friends. I would say friends are the solution to most of our problems in life. They might be the bringers of many problems in our lives too, but they are also the solutions for most of the problems in our lives. They can be really good critics of any art form. You can discuss things with your friends which you cannot discuss with your parents or your siblings or whatever. So you can share before you can share it to the world. You can share what you have. Whether you can go to your friend and share, this is what I have created, this is what I have written, this is what I have done. What do you think about it? Maybe it might be a negative word, maybe it might be a positive word. But if it is a positive word, you can have a third person's point of view. So the first rule is to share. Get your art form out and share it with the persons whom you are comfortable with first. and then you go ahead and share it with strangers. That is the most vital thing. You need to look at it from from the crowd. You need to have it in a place and look at it from the crowd. So it might be something that is very normal for you. You might have been doing it from your young age, so it might feel like, okay, what is there in this? I have been doing this since I was 5 years old. There is nothing special about it. And today's social media is a very good platform for that. When you share it to the world and people see it and they are amazed by it, then only you will come to know. It's like that Vivek comedy only. So இதுக்கு போய் இப்படி இது பண்றாங்களா அப்படின்ட்டு. So people actually, when you see people get excited about your art, you will realize, you will get a kind of drive to go ahead with it, so that you will be able to cultivate it more. And obviously you should be open to feedback, be it a negative or a positive feedback. I have received a lot of feedback for my work among the stars. So one of the initial feedbacks that I received was that my English is too tough for people to follow, that they are using dictionaries for each and every word and all those things. And I think Sanjana has got bored and maybe
actually my power is off, but I can have the audio, no problem.
You still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, then great. So that's what I have received multiple feedbacks for my work. So we have to take both the negative and positive feedback with a positive mindset, so that we'll be able to improve ourselves. So that is a very important part of nurturing your art. Once you do that and you keep improving day by day, then sky is the limit.
Okay.
And I forgot, what was the second part of your question?
Yeah, I would like to tell, I would like you to brief to everyone that how can they manage their time, like how would they be able to manage their time, or how can they balance in a much better way?
Okay, I'll tell you something. I have listened to podcasts. I have read multiple books on time management. I am not good at time management, let me tell you. I am good at doing things, just that it is not about time management. And there is no single formula to actually manage your time. It is each and everyone will have different priorities in their life. They will be having, say for example, I am working and I commute every day up and down 40 kilometers up 20 kilometers and again 20 kilometers back home. So someone might be having a longer commuter time, so they might not be able to find the time that day. But I would say, if you are, see, when you walk into a movie that's really great, you don't feel like you have passed 3 hours watching that movie. You actually feel like just now we entered and it's already over. It was so good. So that is part of engrossing yourself into any activity completely. That will actually help you. That's a shortcut to bypass time, I would say. So when you get into any activity, apply yourself fully, so that you do not think about anything else. You do not worry about anything else. When you are writing, you write. When you are studying, you study. When you are playing, you play. We should learn these things from kids. They are great people who can forget all rest of the things and just concentrate on one thing, what is there in front of them at that point of time. So if you do that, you will be able to find time for everything. So slowly, it is a matter of making it a habit. You make it a habit, whichever you prioritize one thing for a month and do it. You prioritize it. It becomes a part of you. Becomes who you are. And one such thing that I recently picked up is doing yoga. Before this COVID-19 lockdown, I did not find time, even though I knew that my health is deteriorating. I was not finding time to do something to help myself, stretch and do something. But once I got that habit, I do it every day now, and it is a part of my regular schedule. So whether I find time, maybe. And one more thing is that when you do not find time, you should not blame yourself for that. You should not pull yourself down. We do that a lot. We are great people who can we don't need others to scold us. We are there to pull us down all the time. So when we don't find time, it is not only about not finding time. We will feel like, okay, everybody is finding time to do this and do that, and we are not finding time to do this. I would be good in that, and I have not been doing that for a long time. Maybe I'm no longer good in that. Maybe the time is already over. No, the time is not over. You are still good at everything that you do. There is still time to do things. If not today, maybe tomorrow. If not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. The only thing that we have got to do is keep trying. We just have to keep trying. It's been a long time since I wrote recently. As I told you, I've been writing only blogs recently. I've not been working on any fiction. And still, I know it's there. I know it's not going anywhere. I know I'm not going anywhere. So things will work out. We just got to keep trying.
Okay, so I'm visible now? Or
yeah, visible.
Yeah, okay. And the next thing I want to ask is about your book. How was your writing experience when you wrote the book?
Okay, Among the Stars.
The book you published, Among the Stars.
Okay. I'll tell you something. Before I tell about the book, let me tell how I got into writing per se. As in, I used to write on and off from my young age, but during my college days, I think your professor and mine, Mr. Anand, he was handling thermodynamics for us, and he used to make the classes very interactive and telling about how entropy is increasing in the class and we need to bring it down and all those things. And he used to share some of his works. And during one of the time, I just, conversationally, I told him, I even used to write, but I don't know how to or where to write or all those things. And he just asked me, why not? That was the only phrase that he told. Why not? And you should check out Blogger at Google. So that's what I did. And I started writing my first story as a series in Blogger. And I don't know, it's still there somewhere. Among the Stars is not the first story that I wrote. And then I got into short story writing. When I, as I told you, I shared my writing with my friends. And one of my friends, he was working on short stories rather than novels. And he and I started writing, picking a common theme or, writing, you just pick a theme and write. And we started writing, and before I knew it, I had some unpublished 20 stories in my hand, 15 to 20 stories. And a couple of stories I wrote for a competition at Anna University. And I had all this thing, and I just wanted to, run it by and get a larger audience feedback. So I wanted to bring it into publishing and get the feedback from all the people. So it's not just my friends or not just my Facebook friends or the social media. To bring it out there, to get to know what I'm lacking or what is actually good for me. And that's how Among the Stars happened. So I compiled all the stories into a single book, and I took it up and I published it under the name Among the Stars.
That's nice. So I would also like you to ask, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book. Why does it have a S? Favorite books would be rather better. And yeah, you can't have a favorite book. Who is your favorite person in life? You do not have a single favorite person, right?
Yeah, not a single person.
So books are like friends to me. And once you get into them, you forget the world. So there are so many books that I love, and I don't know, some of the books that I've recently read, which have been, really good in changing my perspective. So I started with R.L. Stine, moved on to Christopher Pike. Horror stories are basically what I used to love. And I came to Stephen King. Stephen King is still my favorite author. I don't know, I just love that guy. But when you look at it from a book's perspective, I would say a book which can add something to you, which can change your perspective about things that are around you. Those books are really good. And in that way, Brave New World is the one book that has actually changed my perspective about a lot of things. So Brave New World, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, and many such books. When you go in, you read, it is not just about the story. Beyond a point, it's not just about the story. It's about what it touches in the reality. So what is the reflection of reality that you see in the story? And, slowly you'll start seeing patterns in your real life, that the author wanted to convey. So when you see those patterns, you look at the world in a different way. You look at the people around you in a different way. You will be able to understand why a certain person is behaving in a certain way. And that's great. That's an impact I would like to create through my books.
Okay. So I was also brushing your Facebook page yesterday for this session actually. So I also got one more thing. I saw that you are a lyricist. It was mentioned in your Facebook page.
Okay.
So you do write poems or songs also?
Yeah, I have a set of poems that I have written. I haven't published those. I have just shared it with my friends.
Okay.
Maybe one day I will. Regarding lyricist, I played the role of lyricist for a Protract song that the Chennai Circle wanted to create. So I wrote the lyrics for that song. It was a Tamil song way back in 2015. So that was the one time I played lyricist, as well as for some of the short films that my friends made. And poetry is something that I still write from time to time, but I haven't found the courage to share it with the world, except for a few pieces.
I think you should do, because you are encouraging us to get out our creative side.
I know.
So maybe you should also try doing that.
Definitely.
And I saw a question now that popped in chat box. Like, they wanted to know why your first book was a collection of short stories and not a novel.
Okay. Yes, I think that popped up here too.
Yeah.
As I told you, I started working on a novel, and that is halfway done, and it's still sleeping in my shelf. And currently, I'm working on 2 other novels. But I would say, as I told you, this short story writing, I got into it as part of quid pro quo with my friend. So he started writing, and the short stories just kept coming, and it started piled up. And through the novel, I felt like I want to convey something to the world, and I wanted to use this first book as a litmus test to see if I have got what I need to be a writer.
Okay.
So I just felt there is a common theme across all the stories in the book, Among the Stars, but each story is in a different genre. So one is a science fiction, one is a coming of age, another one is a person battling with depression, and so many different genres. So I just wanted to find which genre my writing has the best impact, so that I can choose that genre and write my novel in that particular genre, so that I can convey my message in the best possible way, so that it has an impact.
Yeah, and the second pop now was from my friend Karen. She wants you to read your favorite excerpt from your book.
My favorite extracts from my book.
Excerpt from your book.
Okay. I think I'll have to change the screen. I don't have it with me right now here.
Okay.
Just give me some time. I'll get back to that.
Okay. And also, Anand sir wants to know whether your writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether your writing does some job. Plays some role in your core job.
Writing is okay. Yes, it has actually helped. People. You work in an organization, and your sphere of work is going to be small one. Okay, the exposure that you get, it can have an impact. You can have a greater exposure if people get to know you beyond what you work for. So once I published this book, people were actually they came to know the name Yamunai Thuraivan through that. And my HR actually contacted me, and I have started taking training sessions on communications after that, and I handle the classes, some of the classes for the new recruits, and for them I handle the classes for communications training. So that is part, I think, and even the CSR initiative regarding the Challengery School. That was also part of the reason why I got into that is because my name was quite known that I am good in English and I will be able to help out in communication.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another pop here was your job nature at Sundaram Fasteners.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
My job nature at Sundaram Fasteners. Okay, I work as a design and development assistant manager. So ours is the unit in which I am working is hot forging unit, where we make powertrain components through hot forging, and I work on the process routes. I'll be designing the process. So we will be receiving the final requirement from the customer. So what will be the product look like? What will be the dimensions of it? What are the tests that it has to go through? All those things. And it is my job that I have to design the forging dies and make the product. I'll have to then play the role of project management. I'll have to work on the timeline so that I'll be able to meet the customer's timeline. I'll be able to get the product at that particular time, and it has to successfully run through those tests, and it gets submitted. And after that, I'll have to guide the product till it for the next 3 months so that it reaches the production maturity. That is the role that I play. So it's a bit of design as well as
you told, right?
Project management. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So you told your mother, you were inspired by your mother in balancing your work and also your passion, like being an author.
Yes.
Anyone else, have they inspired you in doing this, in this balancing act?
This balancing act, I would say, maybe not before I wrote the story, but since I wrote the story, I look at people. As I told you, the person whom I was talking to, she is settled in UK. She has a 2-year-old kid. She is taking care of the child, and she was working, and she still wants to work, and and she still has her passion. When I look at these people, when I talk to different people, I see how there are multiple phases to people, that they want to express. But some people do that really good, and some people do not find the time or do not find the energy to do that. But whenever I look at those people, I feel like it is our duty to do that. We have to get inspired for our sake as well as others, so that one thing is that we will be able to express ourselves better. We will be able to show a part of us that we would like to show to the world. And the second thing is that we will be able to inspire the people who are, they might be, there are people who are much more talented, but they do not have the energy to show that. But when you are actually putting yourself out there, you are showing that it can be done, even in any way, in anything, that will actually inspire others to do that as well. So it's a collective growth for humanity.
Yeah,
I know I'm talking in big terms, but still.
Yeah, I want to know the person, like you told your mother and your friend. Anyone else? Any other person? I want to mention the person. Anyone else?
My sister is one. My sister is one. She used to, have a lot of phases from her school time, and her English is one of the best. And writing, she writes amazing essays. And finally getting myself out to the world, it has been me who has had that chance, and now it is me who is instigating her to write more now. And our professor Anand sir, and through my writing I met a couple of people. Mr. Bragadish Prasanna, he is another friend of Mr. Anand. Those people are working on full time, and they have got more than 2-3 books out in the market. So they are actually able to juggle better. Mr. Bragadish is actually hosting a podcast as well on time management, on how to improve yourself day by day, and all those things. So you can actually do much more than what you think you can. And everybody is an inspiration.
Okay. So here was another pop-up from Mr. Sriram Sridharan. He wants to know whether have you thought of giving up this being author? And if yes, then after that, how did you again motivate yourself back to writing?
Okay. Yes, I have. Yes, I have thought of, why bother? That is the one question. Why bother to write? Why is it actually going to bring in any money, or am I going to be a full-time author at any point in my life? All those things do cross your mind. Be it any venture that you take, it will. There is no person who can say it has never crossed my mind that why am I doing this? It crossed me when I was doing my engineering. It crossed me when I'm in my professional life. It has crossed me in my passion as well. But the one thing that keeps me going is that I just love storytelling, and there is always that one more story that has to be told, and that can be told in a better way. Whenever I read a book, I feel like this is something that I have already felt. This is something that I know. This is a concept that I have discussed with my friend, and I would love. I could have told this in a better way. I could have told this in a similar way, and when I come across such snippets, I just pick my pen again.
Nice. So then on to one more question. I mean, two other pops were there here. One among it was, how do you what do you think about these creative sides apart from the professional life everyone has? These creative life things would contribute in development of one's life.
Development of, sorry?
Development of oneself. One's life, oneself.
Okay. Okay, this is a drastic news that might have come across. One of our television serial actors actually committed suicide a few days back. I don't know. We do not know the full reason why, but she had written her last social interaction Instagram post was that when dreams die, do not have anything to live for. May her soul rest in peace. But I believe in that quote a lot. When you have a goal, when you have a dream, you actually feel like you want to do something in your life. Okay. When somebody asks you, "Hi Sanjana, who are you?" What do you say?
I am a mechanical engineer.
You are a mechanical engineer. So yes, okay, good. So that's what you say, right?
Yeah.
This again comes back to the thing that I was telling. Since the industrial revolution, right? We give more importance to our profession. Okay, we look at our identity by the profession that we are in. Okay, but it is not so. It is not so. We are not our profession. We are not just a daughter. We are not just a son. We are not just a father. We are not just a mother. We are something more. That one bit more. Everybody is a mechanical engineer. There are so many mechanical engineers in your class, right?
Yeah.
So what is Sanjana? So Sanjana is something that one bit more, right? There is some single differentiating factor which makes Sanjana Sanjana, which makes Yamuna Yamuna. So in that way, being in touch with your creative side, that I feel brings the definition to who you are. And let me tell you, life, there is no inherent meaning in life. There is nothing like this is what it is and you are this and then you are done. It is not like that. So it is what you create. It is what you are. So when you create something through your art, you find expression of yourself through any medium, be it your singing, be it your poetry, or be it your writing or painting or whatever it is, you actually create meaning for your life. You create who you are. You create the definition of who you are. So that is an important step in your self-realization, I would say.
Okay. So, and here another pop. Rebecca ma'am wants to know, how do you improve your writing, and what are the suggestions you would give to improve the writing skills?
For improving your writing skills, okay. So first thing, as they say, is to read. You have to read a lot, and the trick to reading a lot is to forget that you're reading. I always imagine or I always remember the stories more like a movie that I've seen than a book that I've read. So all the images, you imagine it in a way that you are actually going through those in a movie screen. So that you read a lot. And I would say for improving your language, I would say watch a lot of movies as well as read a lot of books. to improve your writing, narrative, not just your language. I would say the best way is to read a lot of non-English authors as well. So Russian authors, and I recently read an African author. The way that you tend to understand how a narrative can be more than just the usual way of, you watch a particular set of Hollywood movies, you think all Americans are like that. So it's the same thing with the books. So you have got to pick up a book irrespective of who's the author, from different backgrounds, from different nationalities. That is going to add richness to your narrative as well as your language.
Okay. And the next question here that popped was, will English vocabulary make an impact on writing?
For storytelling, English is not required. English is just a medium, just like any other language. English, Tamil, Hindi, Marathi, whatever it is just a language. So, will English vocabulary help in writing? Yes. If you are choosing English as your medium of writing, then it will help you. Let me tell you how. If you feel like you want to describe a person who is angry, okay? If your vocabulary is limited, that you know only the word anger, so then he will say he is angry, he is very angry, he was very, very angry. That's how we try to express. So when you actually improve your vocabulary, that is, he was indignant, the rage was pulsing through him, he was angry, he was pulsing with anger. The way you narrate, the way you bring life to any particular scene or the plot is through, using the exact word that you want to use, minimal number of words to bring the maximum impact, so that it creates a better impact. So vocabulary does help, yes.
Okay. So now it has been so much about just writing. There was also a pop which was linking our mechanical with writing. So what is your idea about Industry 4.0, and are you interested in writing any science fictions?
Industry 4.0, okay. Yes, Industry 4.0 is here to come, and I think this COVID-19 pandemic is going to rush in a new age of technology where we are forced to take the next steps. Say, for a simple example, if you take, people are stranded today in India, the manufacturing sector. If you see, people are stranded in different states. Okay, and as soon as all the travels have resumed, they have gone back to their hometown, and everybody is afraid about contracting the disease, and nobody's manpower. Getting a manpower is going to be tougher the coming days, and the automation, Industry 4.0, trying to build a system which is self-reliant, so that it is less reliant on manpower. That has been a calling for quite some time now, and going forward, it is going to be push forward at a much faster rate than what it has been going through. That is one thing that I feel this COVID-19 is bringing a new era. So that Industry 4.0, which we have been telling for a long time, similar to our Bharat 6 engine and all those things, AI, those things are going to be, at a faster rate, they are going to come into our lives. They are going to become part of our reality.
Yeah, and I also asked about your idea about writing science fictions.
Yes, I do. I actually have not read much of science fiction in my initial days of reading, but I have been reading a few, recently. And Brave New World is a science fiction, and I believe science fiction is a very important part of literature, because it not just pushes your reality to a different level, it actually pushes not just your reality, but the reality around you. It gives a thing to strive for the whole of the world to move towards, so that what you read today as science fiction will be the reality of tomorrow. So Isaac Asimov or Aldous Huxley, those people, they have been writing science fiction, and 60s have been thriving with science fiction. 1960s to 70s, all the books would be science fiction, and those are the times when scientific advancements were made at a very fast pace. Going to the moon, developing rocket systems and all those things. I believe writing will affect the culture in certain way, that the culture will be reflecting what is written. So even in our Indian subcontinent, if you see, a mushrooming of a lot of mythology stories, it's like, I feel we are trying to find our ways back to the roots. We have been following the Western world for a long time now, and we have been making ourselves too professional that we have lost touch with our, the scent of the soil. So we are trying to get our senses back, get our roots back. So that has been the reason why the mushrooming of a lot of mythological stories. And science fiction, in that way, I would feel it will bring in the advancements that we always dream of.
So, well, your upcoming writing plans would include science fictions also, correct?
Definitely, yes.
So, what else are your upcoming writing plans?
I'm working on 3 short stories right now. One is almost completed, and the rest of the 2 are halfway. And I'm planning to, make it into a novella, so that a collection of 3 short stories. Each story is a novel or not a short story, so that it will be a little longer than a short story, but shorter than novel. And one more novel, which has been my dream project, that has been going on for quite some time, almost 2 years now. I keep switching back to other stories and then going back to it. That is one other story that I've been working on. And science fiction story is something that I have in my mind, but I haven't put pen to the paper and started writing. It's still there.
There was again a question popped here.
Okay.
Have you ever struggled for writing, or have always been pouring out of ideas?
Never. It's always a struggle. It's always a struggle. Some days it just flows, and to me, what helps is being alone in a room where I have no distractions, where I don't even see the outside world. This is the place where I usually sit when I'm writing. So I have the windows closed. I don't look at the outside world, and I just write. And usually I write at nights, so that I have the least amount of distraction. But some days are really bad. You cannot get the next word, or even if you write some 10 or 20 pages, you feel like you have written rubbish. So it's never easy, but you just have to keep pushing through. And never be your own critic. As I told you, we are one of the most self-critical creatures in the world.
Yeah.
So for us, all of us, we are our own ugly ducklings. So whatever we write, whatever we create, we tend to be more creative. We need to share it at least with the persons or the set of people whom you are comfortable with, to get a different perspective. Never judge your own book.
Okay. And one other pop from my batchmate. How do I improve the level of thinking while writing?
Improve your level of thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. A very good question. I would say just forget about writing. Okay. Your level of thinking needs to be, it has to break the boundaries for you to make an impact in any field that you are working on, be it your profession or your passion. And it is, I believe, the best way is to observe people. And a little bit of psychology and philosophy is something that is required for every one of us, I would say. As I told you, education system is not being a complete, solution to our growth. Because I believe psychology and philosophy should be a part of our regular curriculum right from school, so that I'll say you see, this addresses a lot of things that we discussed. You say a person has an art or any skill, but he or she does not doesn't realize that they have it, or doesn't feel like sharing it out. All these things are behaviors of people, right? You need to understand people. You need to know why the person is behaving such a way, why a particular phenomenon is happening in such a way. How do you connect to people? And these things will actually help you to break the barriers, talk to people, and get a different perspective. And when you get a different perspective, your thinking actually grows. When you are, when you grow up in a closed environment, if day is all that you see, you will never know that there is something called night that exists. So you need to get yourself outside from your comfort zone. You need to meet new people. You need to take up books that you wouldn't normally take up, read things, see things, and just get to know different perspectives that will help you grow.
Okay. Next one is your idea on the world of multi-potentials and how is that advantageous to tier 2 writers?
Sorry, I didn't catch that question clear.
Okay, your idea on the world of multi-potentials, multi-potential people, and
Okay.
how is that advantageous to tier 2 writers?
Question is from Karthik.
I think, can I know from whom this question has come to?
Karthik.
Karthik. Okay. Our batch Karthik. Okay. See, that's what, as I told you, the potential of any person is not limited to the one thing that he or she has chosen as their profession, right? And there is always things to learn, and there is always potential from everyone. And it is, see, in today's world, if you take up mechanical or if you take up IT, and today's boom is regarding IT or mechanical, and you will find a particular profession and you just grow along with the current growth in the reality around you. But what you have, the potential that you have, is not just that. You'll have multiple potentialities, and you owe it to yourself to work on each of those potentials so that you will find ways to express it. And I think it is not imperative that a person has to be in this particular field, and so he is talented only in that. Everybody can find expression in multiple talents, and they are allowed to work on their multiple potentials.
Okay. And the last question that popped here was, as a honest writers, the words that pour out in your writing, it was something relating to that. It was a big chat. I wasn't able to read as much.
Okay.
So, can I take a minute to see that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the question was, do you consider yourself a honest writer whose words justify your principles, or you just bend your rules of writing according to
Okay, that's a very interesting question.
Okay.
See, what you write, if you are writing a non-fiction book, and if you are writing a thesis, or if you are writing a theory that you believe that has to be followed by humanity, then you have to stay true to your writing, right? But if you are a fiction writer, as I have been and I plan to be, then you will have to create characters which are completely against your principles, maybe a part of your protagonist, maybe as the embodiment of your antagonist, and you will have to create multiple perspectives that battle it out on the pages, and maybe one perspective comes out victorious, and that might be the one that you are true, that might be your philosophy, and in most cases, in reality, it might not be so. So there is no good or bad in this world. I believe that a lot, and that is one thing that I do keep true in all my stories. So all my stories are quite grey, and there is no clear-cut protagonist, so that everybody has a dark side to themselves, and everybody has a bright side to themselves, so that that is, I believe, that's what reflects the reality in a much clearer way, because nobody is clear cut into a particular definition. And your writing has to bring some kind of a philosophy and understanding to the reader more than the writer. The book is all about the reader.
Yeah. So finally, I have only one thing. The message you want to convey to the audience who are over this session about this topic, or even generally the message that you want to convey to the audience today.
I believe I just want to convey one thing. We didn't touch upon that subject regarding the theme in my stories, right? The major theme in all my stories is about mental afflictions.
Okay.
So since I have had first-hand experience with quite a lot of, I mean, not quite a lot of people, but to a certain depth about how much your mental affliction will affect your day-to-day life. That is a theme that I pick up time and again in all my stories, and I know it's completely unrelated to the topic, but I believe an openness among people about what they are going through, about their mental afflictions, or everybody goes through stress, everybody goes through a phase of depression, and to share that, to have a few people with whom you can share that, I believe that is very vital for one's well-being, and to be accepting of people who do share about their phases of depression with you, and not to judge them by that, or to say like it's all okay, you can just go on, all these things are fine, all those things, that it doesn't go away like that. And that is one thing. And the second thing I believe is everybody should write, because sometimes our thoughts just crowd our minds too much, and if we put things on paper, it will actually mellow down those voices in our heads, and we can actually have a clearer head. We can think better. We can if you're you have a dilemma about what to choose or what to do,
Yeah.
you can just write. Having a journal really helps. I know I say that, but I don't usually do. But whenever I come across a crossroad where I feel like I need to put this on paper, and just write. It's not about writing a fiction or anything. It's not. So it's a coping mechanism. I believe writing is a coping mechanism that we humans have collectively developed, and it's a good thing that everybody should keep in touch with that.
Yeah, definitely. What you said was a very good thing. Writing will help a lot in getting many stuffs, released from many stuffs. So I want to know any other.
I believe you have
Yeah,
certain methodology of doing that as well. Do you write when you face dilemmas and all?
Yeah. I do write. When I'm low, I do write. I do write in quotes. And there I went to solve my grief or whatever happiness. Every time I write. When I become happy, I write. When I become sad, I write. So writing is also something that is relatable to me. And I read books a lot.
Right.
I like reading books.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to know any other questions from audience side, because the last one popped and I read it to you.
Okay, I think we are 1 hour into the session.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That flew by.
Yeah, the recording has been exceeding more than 1 hour now. Yeah, usually our session is 5 to 6, and I think time just I think it just flew. Yeah, actually, for the other participants, if any of you are interested in getting in touch with our alumni directly, so I have shared the Instagram ID. So his Instagram ID is Dasa Satyan in the chat window. So you can contact him, or I think even his email ID, college email ID, is still active, I think, but I don't know if he's using it. So all of our students.
I'll try and retrieve that.
Yeah, if you want to have your password set, you can do that also.
Definitely.
For all students, whatever email ID is given to them, it is for lifelong. So that is also there. If you can go to your chat, you can open the mail window, and you can just type Yamunai, and it will pop up.
I'm sure no one else would be under that name. So
yeah. So this name is correct, very, very unique. So if no one else has the question, then I will give the closing remarks, and we will wind up. So first of all, I would like to congratulate Sanjana for doing a very good job on her first interview.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I think she did a very good job, and she will be in need of her interviewing more such guests, because we're only starting with the alumni series now. So we have a long list of alumni from all the departments, CSE, ECE, EEE, IT, mechanical, so from all 5 departments which RIT has had. And secondly, I want to thank Yamunai Thuravan for being here and sharing his experience and knowledge. And I think the audience can easily see the clarity of thoughts which he had. And I personally think that that's one of the main reasons That is very good. I mean, the basic requirement for anybody to write. That is, it's like, அதாவது தமிழ்ல சொன்னா கொடி எஸ்டதும் காத்து வந்துச்சு அந்த மாதிரி. அதாவது, are you a good writer because you have clarity of thoughts, or do you gain clarity of thought because of writing? So it's like little bit of both. So when you start writing, you automatically get clarity. So especially we have some of the faculty members here, so they will also agree. So many of them, they are engaging in academic writing, that is in research writing, so the writing papers. So the advice which you gave at the end, that everyone should write, that once you start writing, everything will fall into place. It's very suitable even for the faculty members. So when you put everything on paper, that when you start writing early, that is write first and edit later. So when you follow that philosophy of writing first and editing later, I'm sure more writing can be achieved. And most of the generic stuff which you told about writing, that will also suit for many industrial documentation writing and software documentation writing, and even academic research writing, etc., etc. So with that, I think I will thank everybody, all of our participants, for being present here. So the whole session is being recorded. The recording of the session will be available in our social media in a couple of days. So all the students who are not able to view can benefit through this recording. And so we are going to have more such alumni sessions coming up. And so with that said, if you don't have any other questions from the audience, so I think we will close today's session. So once again, I thank Yamuna Kirivan. So thank you.
And sorry, one more thing, I was not able to read from my book actually.
Oh, okay. You got that.
I think we can finish with that.
I think it works out best. I just read one particular quote, and the rest of it you can just catch from the real book.
Yeah. So it's good that you also showed your book so that people can.
So this is the book. I think it's inverted. I write under the name Dasa Satya.
No, it's not inverted.
Oh, it's good. Okay.
It's a good way to end the session. Yeah.
There is a particular poem that I've written in that as part of a conversation between a father and son.
Okay.
So there is something magical about the nighttime and stories. Your grandpa used to tell a beautiful Tamil poem about stories and night. And this is the poem. இரவின் கருவறையில் இருப்பதுதான் என்னவோ, கதையின் கருவினிலே கொண்ட ஜாலம் என்னவோ, இரவின் மடியினிலே அமர்ந்ததனை கேட்கையிலே. What lies in the womb of night that brings magic to the words uttered right? Lie on the night's lap and feel the magic of stories at night. So
that's your favorite excerpt from book you wrote.
Yeah, I told you, there is nothing called as the favorite.
The favorite? Yeah, there are many favorites and one among it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for the session.
Sure. Thanks to you also.
Nice way to finish the session. I think we should complete all our sessions with a poem like that. All our coming sessions, even the technical sessions. So, a nice parting note for all the audience and for everybody.
Thank you.
So thank you all the participants for being here, and thank you Sanjana for being host, and thank you Yamuna Kirivan. So we'll have more sessions like this in the future. Maybe some technical sessions. You can come back. You can share your design experience to our mechanical engineering students, and maybe some technical stuff next time.
Sure. The other side.
Yes, the other side.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a great